I've been waiting for this trailer for so long, and it's the most intense one so far. And I can tell you what exactly is gonna happen in the chapter 6 of Garten of Banban. We'll find the scepter, there's gonna be a war, and I'll bring up chapter 5 because of one important character. Wanna know more? Let's go. Obviously in the trailer we see exactly what the mysterious monster wearing a bow tie warned us about. Exactly what was hidden in the QR codes and was a secret message from the Queen's pouch. They're coming to establish their own order. This way could be Queen Bonselia's offspring, perhaps a small naughty one would put on clothes, or it's just a similar monster villain, but it doesn't matter now because the trailer shows bits and pieces of the war that Queen wages and hence into chapter 4. These are hordes of never-seen-before unnamed leeches, and chunks of jester falling into the abyss. Our jester is a bitter giggle in case if anyone forgot, and according to the trailer, he's alive. Obviously he escaped from the collapsing -4th floor. And these slugs show up as a soldiers, besides the well-known monsters which will also be involved in the war. They're rushing towards us as if they want to drain all the blood from us. We will look for the scepter, trying to stay out of their way. Yeah, it seemed dangerous to run away from the Apilla, but these suckers look a lot more menacing, and you can't just settle them up. These slugs are definitely acting as enemy soldiers. Their objective is to eat all the enemies. You're probably wondering about their origin. I may upset you by saying that these are probably not naughty ones, because the naughty ones should have eyes. Besides, they have to be intelligent enough to talk, and these creatures, despite having ears like the Queen has, are more like a degenerate form of Nabnab. Some kind of aggressive animals. Maybe they're being cloned on purpose by the monster with a bow tie. Speaking of Nabnab, ever since Jumbo Josh separated him from Nabnolina, nothing good came out of it. Once he had interfered with us, but he got smashed by Banban. In the trailer, all of a sudden Nabnab shows up as a weird mutant, or rather transforms into a demonic form as the developers call it. His eyeballs turn black and his teeth lengthen. We also cannot clearly see how many legs he has, although even this obscure picture is quite terrifying. What happened? Did he dive into a Javanium barrel too? Something tells me he couldn't have done it all by himself. Somebody must have tipped him off. Nabnab is quite an intriguing character in the Kindegartn. He's a special one, and I want to remind you, dear viewers, that he's the reason the workers started to disappear. It coincided with the collapse of the bull pit, and the Kindegartn has been deserted ever since. Nabnab is lonely and aggressive, and even the monsters think he's a freak. Don't you think he's in the oppressed state? He was separated from Nabnolina and lost his party hat in the chapters 3 and 4. Imagine the opposing side offered him to give it all back and become the leader of the Kindegartn. Probably he's been lured to the dark side and they put him in a Javanium barrel to make him a super soldier, the most powerful unit in the world. There's a picture that refers to it directly. I'd say it also the key to understanding the trailer. Banban and Jester are standing next to each other, they're gonna be in the same side, and the freak Nabnab with slugs on the other one. Oh Jesus, how many of them are there? Now I want to clear things out about Jester, aka Bitter Giggle. As you remember in chapter 4, after the Queen's laughter, he still tried to catch us. He is an awesome jump scare, but he didn't actually believe that if the pouch opens, the world comes to an end, so he decided to make the Queen laugh. So since Jester is a jester and identifies himself this way, he will not be able to exist without a ruler. Most likely he'll come to his senses and try to redeem himself somehow. But this is just my theory. I tend to believe that yeah, from two sides he'll pick ours. If suddenly there is not another charismatic leader in the game show up, we'll appreciate his jokes, which is highly unlikely, because his jokes are lame. And he's glowing pink in the trailer, which means he's 100% on our good side. Well, you'll find out why very soon, I'll get to it. The trailer teased chunks of Jester falling into the abyss. Thank God it's not Bitter Giggle. Perhaps since the others are inferior, they were used as fodder for some monster, since they have Javanium flowing through their veins. One of these jesters we do come across in chapter 6. It's a yellow-purple half-jester. I checked it and he turned out to be a new jester because we've only seen a blue-yellow and purple turquoise jester, and also the colors of Bitter Giggle, and that's it for now. I think such jesters are not aggressive, and in the worst case scenario will be forced to answer his questions or listen to his jokes. We're gonna find the scepter will definitely need it to deal with the spreading threat of Javanium degenerates, unnamed leeches with weird teeth and ears, and freak Nabnab. And the evidence of this can be a pink glow similar to the color of the Queen's scepter. Note that only those monsters that will be in our side glow. If you still do not know what monsters will be in our side, they all appeared in this teaser. Basically, they've all been in prison and you should remember them. That doesn't mean that we can shake hands with Jumbo Josh and share a drink with Bonselia. They're still dangerous, but we already know the rules of safe handling with them. And we'll be able to create some kind of defense for ourselves against the oncoming Leech Legion. We'll find the scepter and it will somehow activate the hidden power in the Javanium creatures. Like the sheriff said, the scepter is the only thing that could save the kingdom. Apilla Bird is alive and well. Stinger Flynn will probably remain small. And what is this cross-eyed monster? Unfortunately, this time I have no idea, and I'll be glad to read your versions. Fiddles has a direct look, and this one is a whole new thing. This is Bonselia, this is Nabnab, oh Nabnalina, and she's with us too. Kittysaurus is probably a jester's pet, and he's also on our side. Apilla or Tarda, but where Captain Fiddles for example, and don't forget the ridiculous theory that he's the main villain. And Syringan. Syringan is a mutant monster that has more than 3 genomes, and he doesn't appear in the trailer, but he does appear in a location that might be related to him, which is Infirmary. Here we see a MRI machine and a Javanium drip to recover the loss of Javanium, and a bunch of beds. And what if this infirmary is being used during the war? There's a surgeon on our side, which is Banban, and the enemies has Syringan. All this sounds reasonable to me, but will we see Syringan himself, or he'll remain in the shadow until the chapter 5? There were other new locations in the trailer, some kind of puzzle room and underground city. Perhaps the monster wearing a bow tie is thematically related to this floor. City versus Kingdom. And since you've listened to this point, I want to draw your attention to the picture of the monster family and the fact that there's no one new on it. No leeches, no Queen's children, well, they're kind of in the pouch like they're supposed to be. No mutants, they should have their own picture. There's also no jester because he's in the picture with the mutants, which means he has a more than 3 genomes, and is really a top case who can walk, come up jokes, and doesn't have animal behavior. So, and since there are no new monsters, this chapter is probably the turning point in the whole Garten of Banban series, and either it all ends here and now, or changes fundamentally. What I'll say next may be not 100% true, and it's just my hazy preliminary thoughts. Yeah, the chapter may be the final one not for the whole series of Garten of Banban, but for our branch. That means that the 6th or 7th chapter will be the last ones. I'm not saying that the 6th one is the last one, it's more likely to be the penultimate one. And then there'll be the whole new branch starting from the 5th chapter, which will probably tell the story from another parent or child's perspective. And it must be a parallel branch, and sooner or later there'll be a chapter that's gonna combine all branches. For now, our branch progresses this way. We find the scepter, save the kingdom, and get to the children with the help of the sheriff and Stinger Flynn. The children are on the 3rd floor, by the way. If we assume that the 2nd branch will have 3 chapters, the 4th chapter will sort of bring both branches together, and we will eventually find the children. This has been Bactus World. Subscribe to the channel to know everything about the original Garten of Banban universe. Check out the other game videos and see you soon.